Concerning the report, please know that I am thankful for PERF's 66 recommendations, as well as the regional committees we've formed to review the recommendations. I'm also very thankful for committee involvement from members of my Citizens Advisory Panel and Professor Brew from the University of Mary Washington. With their important work, coupled with advanced training and regional partnerships, I am confident that the Fredericksburg Police Department is better prepared than ever to support our community's First Amendment rights, while also ensuring the safety of our residents, business owners, employees, and our visitors to Fredericksburg. Again, this report and other related documents will all be available to our community on the PERF page of the City of Fredericksburg's official website. Our committee work is advancing quickly, and I anticipate having the vast majority of the recommendations reviewed and implemented into policy by the end of June. I think it's worth noting here that recommendation number 11 from PERF was for both the Fredericksburg Police Department leadership and our city's leaders to attend specialized FEMA training. PERF recommended FEMA's 8-hour Field Force Command and Planning for Executives training. On April 16th, 25 FPD and city leaders, to include Mayor Greenlaw and Vice Mayor Fry, all attended this course at our local academy. And I think it's fair to say that we all gained valuable information to help guide our response in the future. In closing, I'd like council to know that we really have an incredible staff here at the Fredericksburg Police Department. Your police officers' bravery, their commitment to doing the right things for all the right reasons, and their professionalism, all of these things inspire me every day that I come to work. It is their commitment to our community and their commitment to their chosen profession that will ensure the Fredericksburg Police Department is a leader in 21st century policing, not only in our region and state, but nationally. It's a tough environment for our police officers in America right now. We need to let them know just how important they are to our community. Thank you all for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Chief Layton? Councilor Duffy?
I don't really have a question, but a comment. I just want to say how impressed I am by the work that the police department is doing with the help of the Citizens Advisory Panel. And I, just reading through the detailed report and the effort that's being shown in, growing as a department. And it's just wonderful to see and to know the people who are working on it. It's just outstanding, and I'm grateful for the leadership of Chief Layton and Mr. Baruti, who brought forth this idea of the PERF review. I'm just very pleased with the effort, and I'm grateful that we have a force that's and leadership that's willing to look at things and see, very aggressively how can things be better. And so just thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And just a quick comment for the public. We had discussed this in great detail during our work session earlier this evening. And I just want to point out one of the areas that I found particularly heartening is, not just that, our police department is looking at these recommendations and making certain changes, but that they're working so well with our regional partners, with the county and even VSP. And I think that it's from what I had heard from Captain Mason, some things have really started to change about the tactical field force, focusing on de-escalation more closely, for instance. We're starting to see some real change. And I'm just really heartened to see that, not just for our locality, but across the region as well. And I'm just really proud of everybody who's a part of this effort. And just thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor Fry?
Thank you, Mayor Greenlaw and Chief Layton. In regards to the FEMA training, That was very interesting, and I was happy to be a part. I know Mayor Greenlaw was as well, happy to be in the room with city staff, and I want to say that our police officers are fully engaged. To be sitting there and watch them interact and come up with different ideas and different thoughts about what they would think, and able to express themselves about, because they are the ones that have the boots to the street. So to sit in there and to see their dedication was very interesting for me to be in a room with everybody. So I just wanted to point that out for the public's sake, because we have some officers that are really, really dedicated. I would say we have officers that are really dedicated, not some. So thank you, Mayor Greenlaw.
Councilor Devine.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also just want to express my thank you to Chief Layton and the captains and sergeants who helped put this together and who chaired these groups. I really want to give a shout out to the Citizens Advisory Panel, those people in the public who stepped up and were willing to put in some time and effort to have that public eye on some of the initiatives and changes. But I do, as Dr. Duffy expressed, I want to thank everybody for their willingness to really take a good, hard look at things and, be willing to make changes that need to be made, to look at things in a new light, because sometimes that's hard when, we're used to doing things a certain way. But I think there's a real willingness to improve and, just make things better for everybody. And, Chief Layton, I was interested in your I'm not sure if it was you or one of your captains who talked about even the new procurement of equipment, the fact that the tasers that were ordered for your department are going to be a bright yellow. And I think that that's an advancement as well, that's a clear, delineation between use of equipment. And so again, just thank you to the citizens who stepped up. Thank you to the police force that are really taking a critical hard look at themselves and ways that they can reach out to the public effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief Layton, thank you for the report and the participation of everybody in that. A question would be, when we post it online, will there be the ability for the general public to comment on this or what's coming out of this? And again, this is a discussion I have with the council on a regular basis. At some point, it's frankly, it's not just the PERF report. There's a lot of other issues that we need to look at moving forward, and it's critically important that we engage the public in any and all these discussions, whether we agree with them or not. But what's the plan after you finish the review in 60 days? One, will the public have any opportunity to chime in at all, or will we have any plans to kind of take it on the road, as it were, within the community and have a review with the community of this is what we're doing, this is how we're changing, and maybe even getting some more input from the community? And then for the council, well, first I'll leave it at that, and then I got one other comment after that. What's the end result in engaging the public beyond just the committee?
Certainly work with city staff to see if we can engage them further.
All right. And again, as you are all aware, and we've been through this for a long period of time, this is one component we're dealing with. And I know we have a racial equity plan, and I will say that based on comments I have received over the past few months, we need to do a better job explaining that to the public. But to get through this, we've got to engage the community. And right now we've got a divided community, and it's not on racial lines, it's basically on lines of age, younger generation versus older, which is really nothing new. But, to move through this, we've got to get dialogue started within this community. And I'd like to have a discussion at some point where how we're going to do that. I know there's a lot of raw nerves out there. I know a lot has occurred, but at some point, even with the younger generation, they're coming up. They need to understand what the process is. They need to be engaged in the process. if this is going to be successful. At the same time, some of my generation need to kind of get off the, they're just a bunch of kids and why are we listening to them? Well, you're listening to them because they're not going to be kids much longer and they're going to be sitting up here in the seats that we're sitting on now. And we do need to have a conversation on how we're going to take this to the next level, not just, again, the police department. I think that they're doing their job in their review, but there's some other issues that we need to be dealing with. And we need to have a discussion on how we're going to move that forward within the community. Because up to this point, we've done pretty much everything within the staff. And I'd like to see how we're going to take this out on the road. Thank you.
Councilor Withers.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I won't go into a lot of detail. Everybody's thank you, Chief, and I thank you. I'd like for people to remember that this report not only pointed out things that our police department did needed improvement on, but it also pointed out things that they did right. This was a new experience for Chief and your force and for all of us. We had not been through this, so I'd like to just remind people that they did a lot of things right. They accepted the report and trying to correct things that maybe they didn't do quite right. So just keep all that in mind as we go forward. And Chief, thank you and your staff. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Fry.
Thank you, Mayor Greenlaw. This is one of these moments when I wish I was sitting next to Mr. Kelly. I just want a clear understanding, because if we finish this conversation on this topic about the community being divided, I'm trying to understand what that means. I don't know what that means, divided on what, because I know when I'm out and about, I hear a lot of people talking about, of course, last year is a topic. I'm not getting around that. Everything that happened in the city is a topic. But when it comes to us, there are a lot of people that are talking to me that are pleased about how much we've accomplished in the city, and also how much they had a part of this. So it's the racial equity plan and everything that we were working on before the world got turned over during the pandemic. The whole world, not the city. We were already we were leading the charge. And if you look around the world, not to talk about this PERF report and all of that, if you look around the world, things that people started doing around the world, we were already doing it in Fredericksburg. We were pretty much in second phase. So for localities that didn't have the guts to do what we were doing here in the city, we were engaged in conversations. And then it became popular, right? It became popular after we did it. We were already doing it when it was tense, when it was scary, when it was nobody wanted to discuss things. So I just want to understand, and for the public's sake, when we talk about divided, Mr. Kelly, if you say that, I'm just trying to figure out, because I don't want the public to be misled, and I don't even know what part you're talking about. So I guess we can do a little quick dialogue if we can, Mayor Greenlaw. I just want to be clear.
We could have quite a conversation, and Mr. Kelly, I'm going to give you a chance to rebut, but I'm going to pile on here and say that I've heard from people younger than me, a lower generation, the same comment, that we are leading the way, that that we are willing to talk, that we are willing to change. And I do think one of the more remarkable things, and I shouldn't say it's remarkable, it's what I would expect of a good police department, but it is absolutely true that our folks are, our force is more than willing to look at being better, at making things better, at doing things better, at improving themselves, and additional training. And it was a wonderful report that we received in detail earlier, and we look forward to the final report. All right, Mr. Kelly, now you can have your.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm in no way casting aspersions on our police department in what basically what's just implied. What I'm talking about is in the information I've received over the past few months, which was rather large amounts of it, there are differing views out there in how we perceive our society and how it operates. And that's nothing new. You know, we have a generation that is very, this is the way it's got to be. Everybody is on one side or the other. The unfortunate thing is that, frankly, I mean, this is the nation as a whole is divided. And in the information that I was reviewing and looking at, everybody was taking a position and defending that position. If you take it into the context of the PERF report, either pro-police or, you know, the police were all terrible and bad, and we all know, you know, the comments on that. And I was really kind of surprised in the information because I specifically asked, what should we be doing or what's the next steps? And that wasn't a lot added there. And with regard specifically to the issue of the racial equity plan, it was most people, some people are aware of it, but most people don't know about it or have any real clues about what it is. Because again, most everything we've done up to this point has been pretty much generated within the confines of City Hall and this council. And this is a question I've had from the beginning. And I know COVID's an issue, but at some point we need to take this to the communities and have a good, robust discussion. Things have, well, we're relatively calm, and now we have another issue that we're facing, unfortunately. But, you know, there's a time where we really do need to sit down as a community and have these kind of conversations. And even going back to conversations about how we name our streets, how we're going to do our history, what we're going to do with everything. I mean, we started some of that, but we've not sat down and really totally engaged the public in this discussion. And that's all I'm really asking. Is that, you know, again, there are issues of people on both sides of this that are very determined on their position, and that's not a good thing. Everybody needs to understand that. I mean, I've heard a lot about democracy, and this is what democracy looks like. Well, democracy is sitting in a room with people that don't agree with you and coming up with a consensus on how we're going to move forward as a community. And we haven't had that robust of a conversation yet. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Mayor Greenlaw, Mr. Kelly, I wasn't implying anything. I was just trying to get an understanding, because when this topic is over, the public can take it any way they want to. So I was just trying to get some clarity on it. And I will give you credit, Mr. Kelly, you will have these discussions, and you will stand in the middle of the fire line for these discussions. So I appreciate you for that. But thank you, Mayor Greenlaw.
I think we all will, and I think we're all getting at the same thing. And yes, we always need to do more. But we are trying. We are trying to learn how to engage and how to have a good dialogue. But most importantly, we are willing, as the police force is willing, we're willing to look at ourselves and how we do things and how it can be better and how it can be more equitable. And that's what this is all about. And that's what our plan is all about. And maybe we need to get back on the road. You know, when we first had our vision and our priorities, we had a dog and pony show. We took on the road to various parts of the city. Maybe we'll plan something like that. But at any rate, this is a good discussion. I expect we'll have more of it during our retreat, May 13th, 14th, and 15th. Again, thank you, Chief Layton, and thank you to all of your captains and all of your participants in the review of 66 initiatives. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Thank you, Mayor.